Good morning, students. In previous class, we have completed that chapter coordination compounds, and today we will start with new chapter, that is solid state. Okay, before going to the solid state, in earlier classes we have in last year only we have seen the classification of matter. Okay, that physical classification of matter is made into solids, liquids, and gases. Physical classification of matter is made into three types. Those are solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, ma. Now in today's class, we will start with solid state, in which liquids and gases both have the capability to flow from one place to another place. That's why those two are combinedly called as fluids. Liquids and gases are combinedly called as fluids. Okay. Separately, that one we should discuss actually in 11th class itself. Okay, but we will see later. Now, mainly our 12th class topic, it is related to solid state. Okay, now we will start with solid state, man. We know what are the types of particles present in the solid. Okay, whether it is whether it is atom, molecule, or ion, whatever it is, the attraction force present between the particles will be very strong. Okay, so the characteristics of solid I am going to write now. First one, solid has definite mass and definite volume. These are all we know already in earlier classes itself. In last year also we have seen this one. No? Okay, so a solid has definite mass and definite volume. Second one, intermolecular forces are very strong. Intermolecular forces are very strong. Third one, intermolecular distances are very less. As intermolecular forces are strong, these particles are present very close to each other to be bound with each other. Okay, in which the distance between them is very less. They cannot move easily. They can't move easily. In which they can't move easily, in which the particles can vibrate in their own positions. The particles can vibrate in their own positions. First one, they have definite mass and definite volume. Second one, intermolecular forces are very strong. Third one, intermolecular distances are very less. And fourth one, they can't move easily, in which the particles can vibrate in their own positions. Fifth one, they cannot be compressed easily. They can't be compressed easily. Like this, we can write characteristics of these solid state solid, which we have learnt in earlier classes. No? Okay, now immediately after completion of this one, we will go through classification of solids mainly. Okay, what about the classification is types of solids. Okay, before going to that one, what are the points we have written on the board? First one, solids have definite mass and definite volume. Second one, intermolecular forces are very strong. Third one, intermolecular distances are very less. Fourth one, they can't move easily, in which the particles can vibrate in their own positions. And fifth one, they can't be compressed easily. Okay, these are all points already we have learned in previous classes also. You might have remembered clearly. Okay, now immediately after completion of these points, we will go through how many types of solids mainly we have. There are two types of solids we have. Those two are A, crystalline, be amorphous. There are two types of solids mainly. This is classification of solids. What are those two types of solids? First one, A, crystalline, and B, amorphous. Okay. Now mainly we have to find the difference between these two solids, types of solids. First one, small one, under crystalline. They have perfect order of particles. They have perfect order. Under this amorphous, they are arranged in, means the particles present in amorphous solids. The particles present in amorphous solids are arranged in disorder. So what is this perfect order and what is the disorder? Okay, if you see, for example, let us consider NaCl. NaCl contains two types of particles, Na plus particles and Cl minus particles. Okay, see, these are all Na plus ions. Next, Cl minus ions. Next, again Na plus ions. Next, again Cl minus ions. Like this, perfectly they will be aligned in an order. They have perfect order. Whatever the crystalline solid, if you say, okay, the particles present in the crystalline solid are arranged in a particular perfect order. Okay, if you see first row and second row, we can imagine third row, if it is how, if third row is repeated with first one, definitely immediately we can understand that this position is repeated with this one, this position is repeated with this one. In that way, it is particularly arranged in particular perfect order. But coming to amorphous, if you see one order with some type of particles, okay, next it will be present with some other order. Next third layer again it is present with some other order. Like this, there is no perfect order for amorphous solids particles. The particles present in amorphous solids are arranged in disorder, but the particles present in crystalline solids are arranged with perfect order. Okay, I think this explanation is okay with first point. Okay, next one. Second one, crystalline solids are contained by long range order. Long range means like the distribution will be completed throughout the solid equally, throughout the solid in a long range, continuation will be there. Okay, but coming to amorphous solids, short range order. After completion of some extent, there is a discontinuous with the particles, again they will be started. Okay, like that is called short range order. This is long range order. Next, third one. Crystalline solids have sharp melting and boiling points. Sharp melting point, let us consider sharp melting point. So at a particular point correctly, suppose if you take one particular solid, NaCl, okay, that NaCl will be melted at 850 degrees centigrade. So at sharp 850 degrees centigrade, if you reach the temperature up to 850 degrees centigrade, NaCl started to melt. That is the meaning. Okay, crystalline solids have sharp melting points, but amorphous solids have no sharp melting points. Amorphous solids have no sharp melting point, but crystalline solids have sharp melting point. If you take amorphous solid like glass, glass is example of amorphous solid. Okay, that glass has no sharp melting point. If you heat that one, keep on heating that one, at a particular temperature range, that glass is getting melted. Correctly at particular point, it will not start. Okay, ma? That is the difference. So what are the three we have discussed now? First one, under crystalline solids, first one they have perfect order. Under amorphous solids they are arranged in disorder. Second one, long range order, that is short range order. Third one have sharp melting point. This one has amorphous solids have no sharp melting points. Okay, next fourth one. These are called perfect solids. Crystalline solids are called perfect solids. Under this amorphous solids, these are called pseudo solids. Because these are not perfect solids, ma. Okay, glass, rubber, these are all actually very super cooled liquids. These are called super cooled liquids. First they are obtained in the form of liquids only. After cooling very high, very low, at a very low temperature, they will be converted to solid. Okay, are you able to understand? So this is the difference. These are called pseudo solids. Those are not perfect solids actually. Perfect solids means crystalline solids only. So our next concept, after completion of this classification, next concept onwards, our entire thing it is related to crystalline solids only, because these are only perfect solids. Regarding these crystalline solids only perfectly we can go through. Amorphous solids we won't consider. Okay, next, fifth one. If you cut crystalline solid, into two pieces, okay, the two pieces contain smooth surfaces like polished surfaces. If you cut the crystalline solid perfectly, okay, if you cut the crystalline solid into two pieces, the two pieces inside, if you observe, they will be perfectly like polished surface. There will not be any zigzag. Okay, so this is fifth point. Coming to amorphous solids, if you break that amorphous solid into pieces, it will be in zigzag motion. It will be. If you break glass, what will be happened? The glass will not be broken straightly. Straightly means again you can ask me, sir, glass also can be made into exact cutting like that. By using particular instrument only, we can make that into pieces. Even crystalline solid, even it is not a perfect instrument also, if you are able to make into pieces, it will be like a polished surface only. Because perfectly alignment is there, na? So exactly up to that much extent it will be cut off. But in amorphous solids, disorder, complete disorder will be there. Because of that, some particles will be coming here and here, there, that's why. So equally, we cannot break. Without a particular equipment, if you break the glass, okay, or rubber also into pieces if you make, there is a zigzag arrangement of particles we can observe. Okay, ma? That is the difference, fifth difference. Next, sixth one we will see by rubbing all these things. Okay, now once I will recall these these five more. What are the differences between crystalline and amorphous solids? First one, under crystalline solids, first one is they have perfect order. Under amorphous solids, they are arranged in disorder. Okay, next, second one, they are long range order. Crystalline solids are arranged with particles in long range order. Amorphous solids, they are short range order. Third one, under crystalline solids, they have sharp melting points. Under amorphous solids, they have no sharp melting points. Okay. Next, under crystalline solids, fourth, these crystalline solids are only called perfect solids. No? Amorphous solids are called pseudo solids. Okay. Next, fifth one. Coming to fifth one, crystalline solids, if you are able to make into pieces, okay, the pieces inside, if you observe, that one will be aligned in particular shape, that means perfect order. So we can observe the polished surface. But under amorphous solids, if you are able to make the amorphous solids into pieces, we can observe the zigzag arrangement in which, like glass, if it is broken, how it will be, like that we can observe. Okay, this is the fifth point under crystalline and amorphous solid. Next we can go through sixth point. crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, but amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Sir, what is meant by this anisotropic and what is meant by this isotropic? If you see, let us consider like this arrangement is perfect in crystalline. Okay, now for example, physical property like refractive index. Physical property like refractive index. In this crystalline solid, if you are observing this refractive index in this direction, if you observe refractive index of this crystalline solid in this direction, we will get one value. If you observe refractive index in this direction, you will get another value. See, as the perfection in order, this is perfectly aligned with short distance, it is appeared like this, but here this is like long distance, it is appeared diagonally, long distance it is appeared. So in this direction, this refractive index will be different. In this direction, this refractive index is different. So these two refractive indices are different for same solid, which is called anisotropic. Iso means same. Iso means same. Anisotropic means that is not same in all the directions equally. For a crystalline solid, refractive index is not equal in all directions. But coming to amorphous solids, like these particles are not arranged in a particular order. Okay, as they wish, they will be arranged in particular disorder. It is not arranged with any order also, we cannot say. So if you want to discuss the physical properties like refractive index here, we will take an average. At the same time, this is short range order. These are arranged in short range order. So in this direction or in this direction, we will get same refractive index values. Average we will consider because there is no particular order for the particles present in amorphous solids. That is the reason this is called isotropic. Iso means same. Refractive index, density, like that physical properties are there. Those physical properties, even though in any direction if you consider, it will be same. But here, if you change the direction, those properties will be getting changed. That is called anisotropic. This is called isotropic. Okay, ma'am. This is the difference about crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Okay, totally 6 we considered. I hope you are clear. Next, I hope you understood that. What about the next concept? Totally, our next concept is related to crystalline solids only. Okay, our heading is types of crystalline solids. Next side heading is types of crystalline solids. Before that, you are clear, I think, these differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Okay, ma'am? Next. So next, to keep the side heading, types of crystalline solids. Different types of crystalline solids we have. What are the different types of crystalline solids we will discuss now? Easy thing only. Okay, let us see what about the types of crystalline solids. First one, molecular solids. Under molecular solids, again these molecular solids are classified into 3 types. A, non-polar solids. B, polar molecular solids. Completely you can write in notes. Non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids. C, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. See, under types of crystalline solids, first type molecular solids. Under molecular solids, we have seen three types. What are those three? Non-polar solids, non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Easy. In our previous classes also, in so many times I have discussed that three types of main forces, main intermolecular forces are present. What are those intermolecular forces? Van der Waals forces, next dipole-dipole forces, and hydrogen bonds. Correct? Now, depending on that only, these are. Let us consider hydrogen gas. If that hydrogen gas is converted to solid, we have to cool at very less temperature. That one, all those things okay. By applying all those conditions, I have completed that gaseous hydrogen to solid hydrogen. Okay. In that solid hydrogen, hydrogen molecules are present like this. Actually, this is a gas at room temperature. I made the conditions suitable and I made this hydrogen into solid. Okay. Between hydrogen and hydrogen, which type of forces are present? Van der Waals forces. There is no need to explain once again, I think. Between hydrogen and hydrogen, which type of forces are present? Van der Waals forces, because hydrogen is a non-polar molecule, another hydrogen is also non-polar molecule. Between two non-polar molecules, we will be developed by Van der Waals forces. So these molecules are present with Van der Waals forces very nearby each other and they are arranged in particular order. They are converted to solid. The type of solids are called non-polar solids, molecular solids. These are all molecules only. Non-polar molecular solids present with which forces? Van der Waals forces. Actually, these non-polar solids at room temperature, they are present maximum as gases or liquids only. But we are applying forces and we are changing that into solids. Okay, next, polar molecular solids. Even this one also, if you take HCl, HCl at room temperature, it is a gas. Hydrogen chloride gas, not HCl hydrochloric acid. I didn't dissolve in water, ma. Okay. Normally I took HCl gas. That is gas only, na? Between HCl and HCl molecule, which type of force will be there? Dipole-dipole forces will be there. If you are able to make that HCl gas into solid, then HCl, like this, they are present nearby each other to be converted to solid. Okay, then the type of solid contains dipole-dipole forces. Dipole-dipole forces between the molecules, and the type of solids are called polar molecular solids. Simple. This is example for non-polar molecular solids. This is example for polar molecular solids. Next, hydrogen bonded solid. Best example, water. H2O if it is made into solid. H2O if it is made into solid, that means water is made into solid. These water molecules, they will come closer and they are bound with which force? Intermolecular force. That intermolecular force is hydrogen bond. So which type of intermolecular force is present between molecule and molecule? Here, hydrogen bond. That is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Out of these three, which is strong? That hydrogen bonded molecular solids will be strong. Out of these three only I am talking. Okay, ma? Observe the diagram, observe the board, all of you. Types of crystalline solids. We started with first type of crystalline solid, that is molecular solid. Molecular solids are again classified into three types. What are those three? Non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Under non-polar molecular solids, example hydrogen, F2, Cl2. If we are able to convert all these hydrogen gas, fluorine gas, chlorine gas, oxygen gas into solid state, those are all called non-polar molecular solids. Polar molecular solids, HCl, HBr, okay, HI, these are all, if you are able to convert into solids, then those are all called polar molecular solids. H bonded molecular solids, HF, H2O, these are all examples for H bonded molecular solids. If you are able to convert these solids into these particles into solids, then those are called H bonded. Normally these molecular solids are not solids at room temperature. Forcibly we are doing that gases or liquids into solids because intermolecular forces between them will be weak. Intermolecular forces between them will be weak. Even H bond is also, H bond is strong among intermolecular forces, definitely, that is agreeable. But these are all H bond, even though hydrogen, water is present with H bond, it is present in which state? Liquid state. Okay, if you just suck that energy, then only they will be converted to solid state. This is the idea about molecular solids. Next, second one. Second one, ionic solids. Name itself, it is indicating that in ionic solids, the intermolecular forces will be electrostatic force. Okay, example NaCl, MgCl2, KCl. These are all examples. Naturally, they are present in solid state only. Okay, in NaCl, Na plus Cl minus ions are present with intermolecular forces, and they are aligned particularly in perfect order. In which type of forces are present? Ionic forces. Ionic forces are also called electrostatic forces. This type of solids are called ionic solids, which have very high melting points. Ionic solids have very high melting points. Okay, ma? Simple thing only. Second one. Next, third one. Metallic solids. In metallic solids, example sodium, these are all only atoms, so elements. Sodium, magnesium, calcium, potassium, these are all examples with metallic solids, in which if you take sodium as the metal, in that sodium has one free electron. One free electron present on sodium is spinning in clockwise direction. The one free electron which is present in adjacent sodium is spinning in anti-clockwise direction. Because of that opposite spins, there is a small attraction between sodium and sodium, and the sodium and sodium. Like that, they are present closely packed with each other, and that attraction is called metallic bonding. And that attraction is called metallic bonding. Okay. The metals, solids which are present with metallic bonding are called metallic solids. The solids which are present with metallic bondings are called metallic solids. Examples sodium, magnesium, calcium, potassium, etc. Okay, these are all coming under third type, metallic solids. Okay, mainly our fourth type is covalent solid. Let us see that one. Fourth one, covalent solid. Covalent solids best example, diamond, graphite. If you see diamond, carbon is bonded with another carbon with covalent bonds. Like this. Between carbon and carbon, which type of bonds are present? Covalent bonds are present. Here intermolecular attraction, interparticular attractions are also covalent bonds only. Okay, in molecular solids, van der Waals forces, dipole-dipole attractions, H bonds. But here, between carbon and carbon, everywhere. present with which bonds? Covalent bonds. Covalent bonds are very much stronger than hydrogen bonds. Covalent bonds are very much stronger than hydrogen bonds. So this diamond in which these carbon particles are present with covalent bonds very closely packed, which leads to very high melting point. Are you able to understand, ma? That is the difference between molecular solid and covalent solid. In covalent solid, between the particles also we have bonds only, chemical bonds only. Even graphite also. Graphite, it is like a sheet-like structure. Like this, one sheet will be, and another sheet will be present like this. Between these sheets, some some small gap is present. Okay, it is naturally happened, ma. Because of that only some gap is present, na. Actually, between carbon and carbon, bonds are present, covalent bonds only. But between one sheet and another sheet, small gap is present. Because of that, this is little bit less contained by less melting point when compared to carbon. Okay, but this is because of this layer-like structure, it is acting like a solid lubricant. Graphite is acting like a solid lubricant. Okay, this is a good conductor of electricity because every carbon present in graphite is surrounded by only 3 bonds present with one free electron. Because of that, it is a good conductor of electricity. But in carbon present in diamond is completely satisfied with bonds. No free electrons are present. Because of that, it is the bad conductor of electricity. Diamond is the bad conductor of electricity. Graphite is the good conductor of electricity. Okay, ma? In graphite, hybridization of carbon is sp2. In diamond, sp3. Every carbon is remained with one electron. Because of that, it is the good conductor of electricity. This is about covalent solids. Diamond and graphite are the examples of covalent solids. These are strong solids. So under crystalline solids, totally we have discussed 4 types. What are those 4 types, ma? Molecular solids, next ionic solids, next metallic solids, next covalent solids. Okay. In molecular solids, again we have actually molecular solids at room temperature. They won't be existed as solids, ma. Maximum they are present as liquids and gases only. Forcibly, if you are able to make those liquids and gases into solids, then those are called molecular solids. Molecular solids are present with 3 types of forces. What are those 3 types of forces? Those are van der Waals forces, dipole-dipole forces, and hydrogen bonds. Okay, those are all normal. They are not that much strong solids. Okay, next ionic solids. Ionic solids are present with which type of forces? Ionic forces, strong forces. Okay, because of that they have a little bit high melting points and boiling points, but those melting and boiling points are weaker than these covalent solids. Okay, next third one, metallic solids. Metallic solids in which between one metal atom and another metal atom, because of free electrons, opposite spin of free electrons, there is attraction. The type of attraction is called metallic bond, and because of that, those are present in particular arrangement, that is called metallic metals. They are present with metallic bond, those are called metals. Metals are in solid state only, and coming with final one, that is covalent solid. Covalent solids are present with interparticular forces also, covalent bonds only. But in molecular solids, between hydrogen and hydrogen, covalent bond. But between H2 and H2, there is not a covalent bond. Here, between carbon and carbon, everywhere, covalent bonds are present. Because of these covalent bonds, they are very strongly attracted with each other, being a perfect shape, getting a perfect shape. Because of that, they have high melting and boiling points. Okay, examples for covalent solids, diamond and graphite. This is about classification of crystalline solids. Those are 4 types. First type, molecular solids. Second type, ionic solids. Third one, metallic solids. And fourth one, covalent solids. Okay, and regarding lattice and 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional lattice, all these things we will go through in next class. and this is about today's class. In today's class we completed mainly what about the classification of solids. Two types of solids are there, crystalline and amorphous, and how further crystalline solids are classified. Those are into 4 types. These are the things we have studied in this class. I hope you are clear about this classification and types of crystalline solids also. In next class we will see what about the lattice and lattice points and what about their arrangement, all these things. Okay, ma? I hope you are clear about today's class. Thank you all.